Thank you so much for keeping it with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo. You need to know that is in case you've just joined. But we were here from 6:30 with Brian Biaruhanga looking at Labor Day and, of course, the plight of workers in this country. Just remind you, if you're home, if your dad is home, because now children are also back for holidays, if you're wondering why dad has not gone to work, why mom has not gone to work, why your neighbor has not gone to work, today is a public holiday. And it is Labor Day, where we are joining the rest of the world to celebrate or commemorate Labor Day. And for Uganda, our main or national celebrations are going to be held in Buyikwe district, and that is at Bishop Nkoyoyo Primary School grounds, where His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, is expected to grace and to be the chief guest at this function. Now, as Uganda Broadcast Corporation, we will give you events as they unfold, and I can assure you that our team is already on ground. Sooner than later, of course, we will be having a feel. Juliet Nantaba Mosisi will be coming through to give us something before the actual function starts. And of course, throughout the day, we'll be broadcasting events as they unfold. But now, let's also look at the teaching sector. Let's look at people who are there, who've been there, sharing their experience with us. You know, there's so much talk that has been around teachers, science, arts, teachers. So on this day, we choose to give them priority. And join me, welcome my guest. I have Mr. Cyril Sulaiman. I have Sulaiman Cyril, who has taught for quite so long and a retired teacher. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, sir.
It's a pleasure having you.
A pleasure being here with you.
They tell me teachers never age.
I am now aged.
You're now aged. That if
my mother would not like that statement.
The teachers never age. Because for me, when I move around and I meet my teachers that taught me at Nakasero Primary School, recently I met one of my teachers. He didn't see me, but at least I could identify Mr. Serwaniko. But he didn't look very different. When you move around, Madame Namokasa, you know, I was watching Reverend Impaji in Chitende. I mean, in Deje Senior Secondary School, I met some of Chitende. But when you meet your teachers don't. Sometimes you look older than your teachers. Now, let's be true. What is the secret?
For me, I've always told people, teachers, we exercise from morning up to the evening. And as science teachers and teachers generally, we never sit in class. We're always moving around. That is one reason. So it is enough exercise to keep us fit and perhaps youthful. But on the other hand, qualitatively, I think there is a correlation between how much you use your brain intellectually and longevity in years. The more you use your brain, I think the brain encourages us to use it a lot. And the more you use it, the more it keeps you useful so that it can continue helping you.
Okay. Now that has always bothered me. I was looking much older than my primary one teacher. When we met in one of the supermarkets, he kept on telling me, Robert. I was like, oh God. Now that, but I couldn't ask him, why are you looking younger than me? Now, on the other hand, I have Rollins Nyondo, who is a teacher also. And welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, this one is retired. For you, you're still in service.
Yes.
Where do you practice from?
I work with Namiriango College in Mukono. It's a government school. Yes, I teach mathematics at Namiriango College. I happen to have graduated from Chambogo University. And my life of exercising and learning how to teach has a very big part or role that was played by my teacher here, Mr. Cyril Sulaiman, to see me here today.
Very interesting. So you're a teacher in a single-sex school?
Yes, sir.
What is the experience like?
Namiryango College is a boys only school, and we have that difference from many other schools that are having boys and girls. The experience we have is that you always have to devise different ways of handling the boys only, and you have to look at them differently, being that they are alone for those 3 months in every term. Yes.
Well, very interesting. So these are the people that I'm going to be discussing with on this special day for workers in this country. Let me begin with a retired teacher. Tell me about yourself.
I am called Sairo Sulaiman. I hail from a new district, recently, relatively speaking, created. It is called Butebo district. It was carved out of Palisa district. And I come from a township called Petete. And that's where my parents have lived all these years. When I was born, they were there. My father unfortunately left many years ago, 2003. But my mother is still alive in a village called Petete. And I started school 1970. I went to a school called Kodiri Primary School. It is one of our neighboring schools from my home. I did the P1 and I went back for P2, but I didn't complete P2 because those years Kodiri was a Church of Uganda school, and I'm a Muslim. There was that divide among the denominations. Normally, the Muslims used to take their kids to Muslim schools. But because we broke rank when I went to Kodiri Church of Uganda, and I did P1, and then P2, something happened. One of the teachers punished me badly. And when I went to talk to my dad, they brought in that religion issue, and they instantly shifted me to a school called Kalalaka Primary School. It is a Muslim-founded school. That's why I completed my P7, and I went to senior secondary school. I went to 2 secondary schools, actually 3. O-level, I was in 2 secondary schools. The first one was Sebei College Tegeres. It's up in the mountains of Sebei. But in around the war, 1979, there were clashes between the Sebei people and the Bagisu, and my parents advised me not to go back. So I went to Manjas High School. That's why I completed my O-level.
Okay. Manjas, those people are very good, I think, with basketball?
Yes, and football, and academics. It was an academic journey.
Yeah, I remember them in terms of academics, but also in basketball, because I was in Deji Senior Secondary School, and they would come for competitions.
Yes.
Sometimes there,
yes.
Manjas. So that's why it's reigned so much in my mind. Now, what prompted you or inspired you into teaching as a profession?
I was actually initially not a teacher. I went to Makerere and I did a flat course. And I did math, psychology, and physics. First year. Second year, I did math and psychology. And I graduated in 1984. Was that 84? No, 88. I graduated in 1988 with a bachelor's, BSc. And I did not get a job until a few months later. But the reason was that our times at the university, the ministries, you remember that time, ministries did not have workers, especially educated ones. So they would come, they would bring desks at the ends of our semesters. We used to call them terms for us. They would come and set up ministry offices. Minister of Health would sit in a tent, another one in another tent, and they would actually come scouting for the graduates.
What?
Yes. And
So jobs would look for you that way?
they would look for us.
Jesus!
And then for some reason, I was not aware that those people had come. Then one of my colleagues came running and said, Sairo, have you been interviewed anywhere? I said, what interviews? He said, these ministries, they are everywhere. They said, I've just been at the surveys group, and they are just looking for people. You better go. I said, but I didn't understand. You know, our times we were not yet, the world was, information was very thin. We did not know what was good for us or not. But when he actually forced me to go, and I found those surveying people closing. They said, what do you want? I said, I've come for interviews. They asked me, what's your name? I told them. Where do you come from? I said, I come from the East. He said, aha, you are the person we were looking for. Come in. They didn't interview me. They just wrote down my name and said, we shall get back to you. Indeed, when the lists came back, of the 3 people who had been listed, who had passed, I was the 3rd.
With no interview done?
Yes, I was the 3rd. But I realized they were trying to balance regions. Because there was a Samakulu already from here, and there was a Bamugisha from the west. So they were looking for somebody from the east.
Yeah.
That's how I went through. And actually, I reported. They gave me an appointment letter. I reported at Farmers House, this is Embassy House. They used to have an office here. And the first day, they briefed us. They told us, come back. And the following Monday, I was at the office. We found a pickup, these pickups. We sat in the pickup. I didn't know where they were taking us, but they took us to Entebbe. Near Botanical Gardens, there is a surveying office there. And that's where they took us. We were supposed to train for, I think, about 8 months. The idea was that to prepare us as actual surveyors. However, the training was not to be carried out in Uganda. We were going to go to Britain. But somehow, that time, I was renting. And the little money I had as a student, that time, things were extremely hard. I was renting. And I could not wait for 8 months. I did not have a relative. Actually, in my whole clan, I was the first relative to come to Kampala. So I had nobody to look up to. And soon, my rent was
going to expire.
I went back to Makerere and looked for some of those people who were fluking. We used to call them the Mufading group. A guy called Ruktaganira was Rwandese. He was teaching in Chitante. And I told him my story. He said, you see, you have been teaching, giving us tips in math at university. Why don't you come? There are no teachers. That time there were not many science teachers. Remember, Kenya was taking very many of our science teachers. See, there is a shortage of math teachers at Kitante Hill School. The school is just here in Kololo. And he said, I told him, let's go. And we went to the school, and the headmistress, and when she saw me, she asked me, if you are half as good as this man, you have the job. And then Rutaganeda told him, this man is the one who has been going through calculations for us. The headmistress said, you have the job. That headmistress is called Mrs. Karuije. She's still alive.
What a world it was.
Yes. And that's how I became a teacher. Our first salary was 1,000 shillings.
Now 1,000.
I was a licensed teacher then, and then I went back for a PGD, postgraduate diploma, in 1996 to become a professional teacher.
Very interesting story. Now I know why people talk about the good old days.
Yes, yes.
So imagine you're at university and people come, you know, if you had relatives in Kampala, would even go for that training outside of Uganda. Those opportunities rarely come by now.
Those two people who went, commissioners, they are also retiring commissioners in Ministry of Lands.
Well, now that takes me to the young lad, the teacher with me. What inspired you into teaching? Because by then, today of course we see increment in science teachers' pay. I know you could be one of the beneficiaries of that goal. Science teacher. Happy to have you on set. But of course, by the time I believe you joined, government had not yet brought in that sweet pay for science teachers. Now, what inspired you into teaching?
We are the pioneers.
You're the pioneers.
With the 4 million.
I'm looking at my cameraman, Mr. Ratoro, smiling and wondering, listening to that figure. But what inspired you into teaching?
I was taught by Mr. Sairo in a school in Entebbe, Chisubi, that is the Kennedy Secondary School. And my whole foundation of feeling like one day I can teach started there in that school in Entebbe. That was A level, senior 5, senior 6. I was that student that the teacher would encourage to mobilize others before he comes. And I remember one day, it's about commitment. Mr. Sairo, you would come to teach us at 4 a.m. in the morning. And he was not a resident teacher in that school. So the day before, he said, Lawrence, I'm coming tomorrow, and make sure by 4 your colleagues are ready in class. It was the first lesson at that time, or at scheduled at 4. In my mind, I felt, will Mr. Sairo be here at 4? And at 4 sharp, I was in school, inside. You know, our dormitory of the boys was distant from the school premises. We would get out of the gate and reach our dormitory. But as I was entering the school, having called my colleagues, the boys, to reach out to the girls' side, Mr. Sairo's car was in school at 4. Such occasions, up to date, they have been a milestone or something I refer to keep going. And on some occasions, he would even tell us to discuss. You know, the science subjects up to date, students are encouraged in schools to do group discussions, even at university, to brainstorm by the teachers. Mr. Sairo would encourage us to discuss. Through those discussions, there are those few of us who would find ourselves always the ones discussing. And when he comes, he asks, who discussed this one? They still mention the same person. At that time, I would not go well with the statement because he's here. He used to make that statement. You are the only one always discussing. You man, you will teach. One day you are going to teach.
It was not a curse.
And you know, when you are still a student, you are in S6, the statements you make on a daily basis, we want to be engineers, we want to be this, we are going to be this. Then your teacher says, I see you, man, you're going to teach. You look at him and you see, did this man see me becoming like him? But as I was ending senior 6, that school had a program. Students who had been doing well would be invited back during their vacation to do discussions for their fellows as they wait to join university. So when I was
some little pay.
Exactly. When I was waiting in that period, I was being paid some good cash to discuss for my colleagues, and my admissions came back for university, Chambogo. I was supposed to enroll for information technology and computing, but the period I had been at school interacting with Mr. Sairo, teaching, of course, with many other colleagues, my perception of the whole process had now changed. I actually tell you here that I went to Chambogo and I changed the course to Bachelor of Science with Education, Physics, Math. Changed from Engineering of Information and Technological Computing. Having now started being in the teaching fraternity and being active, had now come to terms with it. I also had that information or statement from him sometimes. When he was changing from surveying, he used to tell us he came to terms with teaching. I came to terms with it. And with the passion, when we left campus, looking up to people like our teacher, Mr. Sairo, how he was teaching that subject, mathematics. I count myself lucky that he is someone, even if I was a teacher already, I would sit in his classes and learn how to teach certain concepts that I had not got probably better when I was a student. And such incidences made me a better teacher. And the commitment we would look up to when he is teaching has also made us better teachers. I personally, with the ideas I got from my teacher here, like how to present certain concepts, has always made me outstanding. And to cut the long story short, that's how I was taken up by Namiryango College. The headmaster now picked me up after the first wave of COVID. That's Mr. Mpuga Constantine. And 2022, I was lucky being already attached to such a school. I was taken up by government to teach under government payroll. Yes.
So, so much happened. Well, we are looking at Workers' Day, but we've decided to look at some workers, and among them, of course, are the teachers of this country. So today it's the teachers that have taken that opportunity. Maybe next Labor Day we'll have the doctors. Yes, and sure. I have a teacher in practice and a retired teacher. Now, I just want to get it from you. By then, I don't know. I've never been a teacher. But one would say teaching wasn't that so much of a good paying job.
Yeah, true.
Because you have jobs that we know, anyone will tell you, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a lawyer. Ask them why. It's good pay. Now, what was your driving factor? Waking up at 4, driving to go and teach. Before you retired, what is that was pushing you? Because I won't say that you love teaching so much. Initially, that wasn't what you wanted.
There are many reasons. I will just mention the poignant ones. In my A-level, that was in 1984 1983 to 84. I was in Mbale Senior Secondary School for A-level. That time, we did not have science teachers. We lost almost all the science teachers. Not only in Mbale Secondary School, most schools in the East, because of their proximity to Kenya, crossed to Kenya to go and teach for salaries which they used to tell us were about 5 to 10 times what they were getting in Uganda. So we were the victims of, we as students, we were the victims. We lost almost all our science teachers. I remember the mathematics which I teach now, I have self-taught. Is self-taught. Because I remember in A-level, we had a teacher, an Indian teacher, was teaching physics and math. But he concentrated mainly in physics and math. He was not, we didn't understand him. And we would wait for the teaching people on teaching practice to come and then help us through. We had one teacher on teaching practice who was called Mr. Oreno. That one particularly did teaching practice for 2 years in our school, every time they were on teaching practice. And he did a lot of work with us in paper 1. Math has 2 papers in A-level, but paper 2, we depended on the physics to understand the physics that physics teachers were teaching us, to understand the mathematics. So paper 2, we had numerical methods, we had even logic in paper 2, and mechanics we were never even taught, except that young man who would teach us that. Chemistry now, we had no teacher. And in second year, S6, we decided that we needed a teacher. We went on strike. And we gave suggestions to the administrators that we know they are good chemists at Mbale. African Textile Mill was called ATM. There was an African textile industry there. It is still there. We said there must be some chemists there, industrial chemists. We got a group of students, we went to their factory and we traced one of them and we talked to them. They were so touched. They said, these are students looking for teachers. And that man was very compassionate enough. He accepted to come to teach us. And he took us through organic, and a bit of inorganic. I think we did only a fifth of the syllabus. It's only physics where we did practicals, but our Indian teacher, I don't want to talk about him a lot. The accent was also not that very good. So I passed A-level marginally. That time there was no private government. All of us would go on government. But that I managed to be admitted to Makerere. Up to now, it still surprises me. Surprises me. But I think it is because this should go to the students. That when there is no teacher, whether your teacher is bad or not, try to fill in. A fellow student can take you through certain things. So we managed to scrap through. I went to Makerere and I did a flat degree, math, physics and psychology. Yes. And then when I graduated, I told you the story. Then when I went to that school, after teaching as a licensed teacher up to 1994, I went back for a postgraduate diploma. I did a PGD from Makerere. It was only 1 year then. These days it's 2 years. And I became a professional teacher.
Very interesting there, what was driving him. Now, coming back, he's a retired teacher. Now I'm going to one in service. That is in case you've just joined us. When we talk about teaching, of course, now it is more interesting with more pay.
True.
But how do you feel, away from the pay?
True.
Being a teacher, today we've been looking at the plight of workers. If you look at the welfare of teachers, also bring in other colleagues, not the science teachers. How would you rate the welfare of a teacher in Uganda today?
On the general scale, that the welfare of a teacher in Uganda today is average, I would say. To be realistic, it's average. When you combine the people that have been put on the other side as the science and the arts combined, it's average. Average in the sense that the other person who does not reach the desired value that Rollins reaches looks up to you as someone who is better. I would believe that in that question you are interested in how we live with it in the staff room. It has reached a level of us being expected to live a life that is more better, even if you already have things that take that money. Welfare-wise still, teachers are always looked up to by most of the people around them as the ones that have to support. I'll use myself as an example here. You normally find that if you have siblings that are in other professions, anything about education, they will look up to their brother who is a teacher.
Very true.
If it's I personally, I have a brother who follows me who is a doctor. I have an engineer, a third born, an accountant, fourth born. But anything rotating around education in the family, it is you to answer. So around that, our welfare is always compromised in a sense that we always have different surroundings to solve. Yes.
Very interesting. The more you earn, I'm told,
the more you spend.
the more you spend.
Yes.
I don't earn much. I wait for a day when I'll earn much. I know if that is true, that the more you earn, the more you spend.
Yes.
But of course, many live hand to mouth.
Yes.
And the miracles of the Lord that see many Ugandans through.
True.
Now, coming back to the retired teacher, how many schools have you taught?
It's a very hard question. Very hard question.
Then
Now there are categories.
okay, yes.
There are schools where you go to prepare candidates. That's called resource. I've gone to. I don't know of a school I've not visited in my 40 years within Kampala, Jinja, and Mbarara, and Kabale.
Where you go to prepare candidates.
Candidates, just to revise with them.
Facilitation.
Yes, I was going to tell you, is in that region, with the experience you have. So in the last period, these school administrators connect with you and you go to prepare their candidates.
Yes.
For exams.
Yes. I'm not the only one. Most science teachers especially, they go for facilitation in other schools. And it's not us who want to go. We don't go and beg them to call us. No. They look around for people And it's normally our students that sell us, now like him. They say, no, if, for example, in a coaching session, if you had, and you impress some of these kids, they come from different schools, they will go talking. And they will tell, they would recommend you to their head of school or those to call you for a facilitation.
So do you camp there a month? Is it a one? Or?
No, it's normally a day or two. For example, when I go to Kisoro or Kabale, 1 day is for traveling. The other day is for facilitation. The third day is for coming back. But for schools within Kampala here, you go for 2 to 3 hours and come back. Yes.
That is enough preparation for students. Okay, very interesting. Now, still, you taught 40 years?
I think 45.
What is it that you're proud of, having taught for all these years? Not materialistic, because most of the times when you ask people what, you've been a journalist for 20 years or 40 years, what is it? People will point at assets. You're thinking, I have a farm.
For me, two things.
I want, yes, not materialistic.
For me, two things. Like I told you, I think I did not complete the other story. When I started teaching, I told my head of, and my colleagues I taught within Kitante can testify to that. I would teach 49 lessons in a day for 7 days. I had a full, I would come from S1, go to S2. There are many streams, go back this way, go to S4, go to S5, go to S6. And what was pulling me to do this? Unknowingly, I think, I wanted to teach students this subject I was not taught. I wanted to teach them and they pass it to offset the losses I made. That was the driving force. And secondly, I was, in my village, I was, I think, the first or the second graduate in the Moluka. And whenever I came back, I went back to the village. I was their scientist. Villagers, they would know our teachers come. And I was in O level. When I went to A level, same thing. They would come around and ask me questions. Why doesn't the sun fall? Why is it so hot? Who blows that? Who fans that fire? And it inspired me a lot to do sciences, because I would prepare myself for those questions from the villagers. Up to now, they call me their teacher. I started teaching my villagers, and I think that's why I got ingeniously lured to teaching, in spite of the circumstances I talked about. So I wanted to teach my kids to pass this subject I was not taught, and I wanted the students to do it for me. And it has always been my driving force.
Wow, students do it for you. Now, Senyondo,
Yes, sir.
or Rollins, when you talk about the teaching profession, as you one in this profession, what is that thing that you can say as a teacher in a country like Uganda that keeps you moving?
One thing that keeps me moving is the result, the end result. We call it the end result, or the fruit that you give out to the world after the whole process. Our country education process ends with what we call results, or UNEB results. When my senior 4 candidates to that Namiryango College results return, and I see Namiryango College mathematics results in the top 10 in the country, I I feel I should do it one more time. It gives me reason to push the next year. Similarly, when the A-level results return and on release our candidates have A's, then the next time we have to better. You look at the results and you say, now next year let's double. Next year let's have more. And when ultimately the students come back to the school to receive these results, there is something I'm most sensitive about, is when the boy or the student thanks the teacher for teaching them. They have got good results, excellent results. They come to school and they thank you for teaching them, even if they are not coming back to the college, maybe for their A-level. And they are going to good universities for their S6. Then they thank you for teaching them. Another very key point in that to keep us moving is when wherever they are, they still remember, and one day they come back to say thank you. That brings me to a certain point here, to my retired teacher who is here. We have always, there's a group of us, maybe I may go deep into that later. There's a group of us who have even formed a WhatsApp group. WhatsApp groups today another way of mobilization.
Old students,
yes, of Mr. Sairo.
Oh.
That he taught mathematics.
So you have a WhatsApp group?
Yes. And we have been occasionally going back home. We actually go to his place, a group of us, and thank him. It may be materialistic or monetary. And today we are having a drive. That drive is aimed at giving him a retirement package. Oh. He told you he retired 2 years ago. And a year after retirement, we enrolled out to that. We rolled out a drive of collecting something that we feel will be termed as a retirement package for our teacher. So being given this opportunity before Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, I may call upon all the students that were taught by Mr. Sairo. He has told you he teaches through different categories. They may be facilitations, they may be seminars. He didn't tell you about seminars. We used to meet in seminars also, and lessons. We call upon them to join us in this drive. Roland Senyondo, and I'm the treasurer of that drive. I have a chairperson by the names of Bate, Senior Bate. We are having that drive, and it's already on. We have a bank account in Centenary that we opened as a joint account with Mr. Sairo and the two of us from the committee. We are seeing funds come in. People have been responding. At least if you would allow me to read my Airtel number for people to reach out to us. We know there are many people whose contacts we don't have, and himself he doesn't even remember, that are out there, and they were taught by him. As a treasurer, my contact is 0702 953876. You can reach out to me, and we add you to that drive to appreciate our teacher.
Well, that is an initiative that has really surprised me.
Yes.
Because usually we see government appreciating best teachers.
True.
We see schools appreciating best teachers.
True.
Some schools go as far as giving big gifts, including even vehicles,
Very true.
and titles, things of that kind. But students coming up with an initiative to appreciate their former teacher. This is something very important, very good, and it shows that really he had an impact in your lives, teaching you and making you who you are today. And he must have been indeed a very special teacher. Among the so many that taught, I don't know if I were asked to appreciate some of my teachers. I think I would. I would. But I've not seen that initiative before.
True.
Where people have been taught by one particular teacher.
True.
Single out one particular teacher and appreciate that particular teacher. I must say, Mr. Silo, you are a very lucky man.
Yes, yes, indeed. Like he has told you, the first car he drove was a Kachikumi drove long ago. It was sourced for me by my former students of Kitante who are now businessmen here. I have so many businessmen people here, let alone professionals in ministries and other departments. They just gave me that car. Wow. And then when I'd driven it for about 3 years, they said, no, Mr. Sairo, twalwoka makatu no. Kalibulibuka. These makatus, we used to call them kajambia. They upgraded it to the makatu. I went back driving to my school and my colleagues scattered. They said, you man, where do you get the money? But it is my old students in Kampala here. Many of them are business people. I have very many students I taught in
they learned mathematics and
yes,
they do.
Yes, and all, from doctors to engineers to everywhere. Very many in the very different schools I've taught in, but especially Kitante. I've taught some big men who passed through Kitante. Many of them don't want to be mentioned perhaps here.
Very interesting. Now, so the campaign is on to appreciate Mr. Silo into his retirement. What do you learn from him?
I learned from Mr. Silo many things, but to mention one, commitment to the job, commitment to the fact that we came to terms with the teaching profession. I learned from him being passionate about what you do. The two things, commitment and being passionate, have seen me through a lot. And every time I look up to him while in class, the energy levels have never dropped. No. I want to tell you, sir, moderator, that up to date, me, I sit in classes when Mr. Silo is teaching, and I've not seen him get tired. That brings me now to a statement we normally use in our country here, retired but not tired. Yeah, I've never seen his energy levels drop. He comes to class the way he came to class when I was seeing him for the first time, way back in 2012. Commitment, passion, and having that enthusiasm to move on. And I've always seen him wanting. In our teaching, there is something we call everyone teaches, but who teaches and you understand. He told you that he loved so much to see his students do or understand what he didn't understand. So I've also loved one thing about his work is wanting to see that even that lowest low learner understands the subject. And I would say today I've seen it work for me. When you sit in a class or teach a class and the students want you to come back to teach them other than the other person. Why? When you're teaching, you have that passion and enthusiasm to see that everyone understands.
Now, Mr. Sairo,
Yes, please.
today the teaching profession has highly been commercialized.
Yes.
True.
And it has brought in unhealthy competition as well.
Yes.
Your days, things could have been different.
Quite different.
People would teach, you pass. Today, passing is marketing.
Yes. Exactly.
Your days, you instill values into your learners.
Exactly.
Today, what matters more is pump them, let them pass.
Yes. Yes.
How do what can be done for us to return on track?
Many schools that have tradition. I'm sorry, I'm going to mention Uganda Matters Namugongo. And I'm happy Mr. Honorable Minister of State for Education, Mr. Miyingo, when he was the head teacher in that school, identified me when I was teaching in Kitante, and he called me to go and be revising with his S6s. That was in 1997. Yes. I want to thank the minister for doing that for me, because that was a very big school for me then. But I went there and excelled. I've never jumped a year except the COVID year. Every year I go to Namugongo to revise with the S6s from second term up to the third term. It is my second home. The first home being the government school I ended in. And so for me, the value in education is not about how much you should get, and that is a very big problem with especially our young teachers. It's a very, very big problem. And young schools, private schools that want to, there is a problem with the marketing schools. People, especially private schools, they invest a lot of money putting up, buying land, putting up infrastructure, and they want to enter a market which has schools like the Namiriangos, the Namugongos. And so you notice that there is a lot of competition. And now, that's where the money thing comes in. That's what the money thing comes in. But there are very many schools, like I've told you, those traditional schools like his, like the Budos, like the Chitante, my school, like Makere College. I taught Makere College after Kitante when I was transferred. I am teaching, although I'm retired, I'm teaching in Makai College. That was where I retired from. It is in Natete. There is still value that we instill in our students. Yes.
To Rollins, how are you coping up, and how should schools cope up with this current competition? Sometimes that goes even to the extent of being very unhealthy.
True. I will also mention the tradition. I come from a school today which is almost 125 years, because it was started in 1902. That school believes in a mission of having an wholesome student or boy sent out to the world, which not only looks at the academia, which is passing results, as you have said it, that is becoming unhealthy today. With that reference, I've seen that in such schools that are not looking at only the excellence in academics, they look at the sports. Actually, you may find that in the college, almost all disciplines of sports are there. They will take the students to music, that's the band, and all other additives. Then you will see students in MDD. You will see students participate in clubs. You will see students participate in different outreach projects and other competitions outside the classroom. And today, government has even added in skilling, which skilling may involve learners being exposed to building skills, carpentry skills, baking. That all may be outside the classroom to let this student's mind be freshened up, getting exposed to something else other than the blackboard or the academia concepts. So we are coping up by standing out differently, and we look at a student beyond the classroom, building someone for this nation who does not only look at a paper, but also an added skill or idea beyond what they get from the classroom.
Well, very interesting. Now I want to look at some of the comments from, I think, YouTube. Here we have any teacher better than Mr. Sairo, even at campus. I went back to him because he taught me better. I never got any other teacher better than him. Well, there are comments coming. This is from, we have Rollins. These are watching through YouTube. Okay. Rollins, I've not gotten your second name. He says, with love for the teacher. I think she happens to be your former student. Then Nampi Leticia, that is Go Big Bro. I think also one of your students. Yes. Then I have Luzinda Arafat Musa. Yes. I didn't know any teacher better than Mr. Sairo, even at campus. I went back to him because he taught me better. I never got anything below A in mathematics. Well, these are some of your former students. May the Almighty Allah bless you as always, Mr. Sairo, the greatest mathematics genius of all times. Well, these are some of the comments coming
that
through.
annoys very many people, especially the younger teachers, don't want to hear. But I must tell you that to become what I became in the teaching profession, I had to stand on the shoulders of some giants. And some of them have left teaching. They are already retired because they were much older.
Do you have any name?
Yes.
You can mention?
Yes. One of them is called Mr. Otigo Evans. He was a teacher in SMAC. He's the man who led me through paper 2, especially statistics and probability theory. Then Opperman is he's a big man in UNEP. Mr. Opperman was a teacher in St. Joseph's the girls' school.
Nagalam?
No, the girls' school towards Gdugazi. St. Mary's Namagunga.
Mount St. Mary.
That one was a major in mechanics. And my OB was one time, all those were chief examiners at different times of math. Then there is an OB of mine who was teaching in Budo. I've forgotten his name. Was also very instrumental. Very instrumental, because for him he knew both math paper 1 and 2 very well. When the name comes back, I will mention him.
So you had to ride on people.
The shoulders of those giants. Yes. So the younger teachers, this is an appeal to you. When you hear somebody being talked about by the his former students and all present students that is the best. It's not because that teacher is the best, but in their own small world where they were only exposed to that teacher, they have no other comparison to make. So it annoys very many people when they say he's the best teacher. I don't think I'm the best. I am passionate about math and passionate about making students understand it.
Now, a teacher here says, thank you, Mr. Chirabo, for the show. I wish everyone a happy Workers' Day. I am Biaruhanga na Chris, retired teacher in Mbarara. Every other profession is made in school by teachers, but what they earn is peanut when compared with those professionals we produce. As if that is not enough, a retired teacher is paid too little money per month. I call upon government to respect these senior teachers. Well, that is a message coming in, and good. Thank you for the show. Is government coming with initiatives to appreciate retired teachers? If so, I have never had retired teachers for upcountry receiving such honor. I congratulate the people, that is the former students, for coming up with such an initiative to honor their teacher. He remains a teacher forever. The nation is because of teachers. Well, thank you so much for being part of the show. And still keep your messages coming in. Of course, many are appreciating the students, your former students, for having come up with such an initiative to appreciate their teacher who taught them mathematics. Now, for the young teachers or the teachers in the profession,
Yes.
these days, students with the development of internet, digitalization,
Yes.
he can tell you the worlds were very different. We see, I don't want to say it promotes a bit of laziness, because where they would go and scratch books, and I think you'll share with us, for you today, you just have something like this.
True.
You know, and can do for you so much work that they had to do manually.
True.
Now, how are you keeping balance with originality and research for your students in this digital era?
Okay. With the invention of technology and the internet in our learning and teaching, we strengthen one thing, that is supervision and the regulation. Today, if you let the students strictly approach everything using the internet, you may lose them. They may think everything will be done with the internet or the research through digital exposure. But what we have to do today, or what we do, is balance it 50-50. We can have some lessons through internet, use of research through YouTube, tutorials. There are topics that we can even now look at and we say, let us study this using already made tutorials on YouTube, for example. But there are those topics that cannot go off the approach that is original. And the only way this candidate can get something out of it, or student, is staying on the originality approach of teaching. That is strictly in line, I would speak in line with our subject, mathematics. So today we encourage the teachers to not only appreciate the digital era, but also take caution on how it is rolled out to the learners. It must be one well supervised and regulated, because as you know, this generation can easily jump off the desired track. I've heard of a school that one day allowed in students to bring gadgets or laptops from home, and within 2 weeks the same school had told the parents to take back the laptops and gadgets. The school had lost control. People would have laptops and phones where they sleep. Some have them in class. People were no longer sleeping. It had become a mess.
A mess. Well, it's very interesting. We can take the whole day discussing the teaching profession and, of course, celebrating. I want to join also the former students of Sulaiman Silo to appreciate him. That is, everyone is appreciated.
True.
And I want to thank the students appreciating someone while they still live.
True.
You know, we have a tendency in our country that we appreciate the dead.
True.
Most of the times, but it's very good when you get your flowers while you're still alive. Now, as we come to the end of this, we must let you go, but what is your final message?
I want first and foremost to thank all the students who have had the chance to stand in front of, for always thinking about me. I thank all the students I've taught and those in the group for having thought out the scheme that they are using to appreciate me. I'm an ex-official in that one. They are doing their thing. I want to appreciate all my old students, OBs and OGs of the schools, especially I've taught in the schools. My government schools have been. Kitante was my mother's school. I always cherish that school. And then I went to Makere College and then to Mackay College. And all the schools I've had chance to visit and share the mathematics. That is always, that makes my day is to go to a place and share ideas. And I want to appeal to the teachers still in practice, not to be selfish with ideas. When you go to class, don't think about whether you have been paid, whether you have just quarreled with the boss, whether what has happened. Focus on the clients. Teach those students. They don't know the undercurrents you have with the administrators or your colleagues. When you go to class, deliver to the best of your knowledge. And the more you teach, the more God, I am a believer, the more God adds knowledge. You even start teaching things you were never taught. And you start seeing them very clearly. So dedication is what I appeal to the younger teachers and the teachers still in the, active in the profession. I want to thank the head teachers of the schools I've taught in, especially the mother who made us. She's called Mrs. Karuhije. She's now retired. She was our headmistress in Kitante Hill School. She performed wonderfully. All of us who were under her in that time she was head teacher are extremely profitable people. They have gone on, even those who have moved out of the teaching profession, they are very successful people. Because of the things, the discipline she instilled, the work ethics. She was an administrator I've never ever seen. So I want to use this chance. I might never have another one like this, to thank Mrs. Karuhije and all your staff. And to thank the colleagues of mine. We worked together during that formative time. I know many of them are still in the service, many of them have retired just like me. I will never forget the family spirit. And please, let's keep together. And I want to thank the colleagues I've worked with in the different schools. And I want to appeal to the young generation of teachers to look up, to have father or mother figures to look up to learn from the people who have been there, like some of us. There are very many things we know young teachers don't know. But our young teachers sometimes think they know a lot. But for me, I told you, I stood on the shoulders of very experienced teachers. And they are the ones who showed me what to do. And I've never disappointed them. So, and lastly, I want to thank the members of my family. I was supposed to have come with my wife, but she got an engagement, which is as important. And I let her go. And my children, I know they are watching. Thankfully, most of them have done math, and some of them are very excellent. They are going to do medicine, engineering. One is doing ICT. Doing ICT. Which course is this one? He's doing ICT is cyber security.
Cyber security.
From Isabat University.
Well, we can have a whole day him thanking, given his experience. But in less than a minute, your parting shot.
Okay. I want to end with thanking whoever joined us today. I'm happy that we had the students of Mr. Sairo whose comments you read that were following online. I would also request that you allow me read our account number on which the drive is running. That account number is 3205 20 48 65 in the names of Senyondo, Sairo and Namrindwa Jemima.
Which bank?
Centenary Bank. I end with also thanking my wife. I came with her. She's following from the reception. She's now from Mary. She's also a teacher. I felt I should mention it here as well. I have colleagues who have been following this whole session, and they were once also in one way or the other assisted by our teacher here. And also thank the team at UBC for giving us this opportunity.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
We don't take it for granted.
No.
It was our, since we started this drive, it's our first time being on a TV show to mention it and to roll it out there to the world. And we believe UBC has added a very big stone or milestone onto our teachers' retirement package.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. I must let you go. Just remind you, today is a public holiday in case you're home and wondering what is happening. And the main celebrations are going to be at, or are at, that is Bishop Koyo Primary School in Wuyikwe District. Well, that is part of what is happening there. Anytime from now, we'll be heading there. And don't forget, our team is on ground. Julie Nantama Musisi, my co-host, she's not here today because she's on ground, ensuring that whatever happens is brought to you live and clear. Let's go for a break.